Alright, so today, Thursday, I took a long on NQ towards the lunch to afternoon session, and nice small, just one-to-one, ended up getting stopped out on the trailing stop. So, how I got my bias, basically, daily chart, we were actually trading into the daily SIBI here. And now one might think, okay, we're trading into this. At the time of my trade, actually, there was SMT at the highs, which we'll get into, but one may think, okay, maybe we see lower price action off of this SIBI here. However, this week I've kind of had a draw of the new week opening gap, and just higher time frame wise, we are bullish, right? We had the sweep liquidity here, this Monday candle that failed to run these lows, and then we had the large trade up, and now we've just been butting into this daily SIBI here. However, I'm expecting price to trade through that eventually. Whether it does it next week, you know, again, because tomorrow's Friday, I don't know how much more upside we could have, but who knows, we could continue to the upside here. We'll have to see the lower time frames, but where I really gained my analysis was on the hourly chart. So basically just want to say that just because we had a premium SIBI up here, I was not looking for shorts really. Now as we get into the hourly chart, right, as we know, we've been bullish ever since the sell-off here on Monday. Now we started to kind of come sideways after Wednesday's pullback here. We had FOMC on Wednesday, and we actually ended up, retracing off the highs, failing to trade into the new week opening gap, which again is my target. Every time we trade away, that's a good sign for a potential continuation to the upside. So anyways, we on Wednesday retraced lower, but what we traded into was actually bullish order flow down here. So you see these consecutive down close candles, swept liquidity, broke to the upside, and these actually all could be seen as a order block. Now on a 4-hour chart, it's actually a little easier to see. It's this candle here. You can see price coming down into this order block, and then we actually came down and just slightly missed it here on the 4-hour, but here coming into today, we actually tapped the high of these consecutive down close candles, being the hourly order block. So coming into Thursday, ahead of the AM retracement here, you'll see we started price off up here. You can see the overnight sessions, right, were pretty just kind of mute. They didn't really do much. We just kind of mostly went sideways. However, we did have a sweep of prior day high inside of London, and then once more inside of the 9 a.m. candle. Now at this point in time, we actually were forming SMT up here. As you can see, ES was not so aggressive to the upside overnight. We ended up putting in a lower high inside of London. However, this lower high eventually got taken out inside of 9 a.m. opening range, but it failed to run above prior day high. So now I was thinking, and I was like, okay, well, I was either going to select to see, a break above prior day high, and then with, pretty strong intention to continue to the upside. However, after seeing this 9 a.m. candle close like this, and understanding that we here on the 15-minute, understanding that there could be potential further retracement before we continue higher. I basically just sat on my hands and I waited. Because again, also just looking at this price action here, we were mostly just kind of consolidating. We were just going sideways really, you know, sweeping liquidity and then trading back down into the range, so it wasn't any kind of price action that I wanted to get involved. Now I knew we had liquidity down here, but I wasn't really aiming for this liquidity to be taken out since, we were trading, we had the retracement on Wednesday. This low already engaged, discount bullish order flow. And then from there, you can see on the 15, we also had, sweeps of liquidity on the 15, time for this market structure on the 15-minute. So I didn't think we needed to really run this liquidity. I was open to the idea, but it wasn't crucial for me. If anything, I really just want to see how price got or how price reacted once we came back into, this area of bullish order flow. So at this point, again, though, I was just sitting on my hands. I didn't really have a trade idea in mind. And then inside the 10 o'clock hour, we started to trade lower. So what we did inside that AM session is we just, came up, purged the highs, and then just shot lower. And again, at that point, ES failed to do that. So technically there was SMT up here, but since we've been overall bullish, I wasn't really looking at this as a reversal point just yet. So as soon as price expanded lower here, again, this is trading away from the draw on liquidity up here. So that is a good sign. As long as structure on these higher time frames stay intact, I will still be looking for longs. Unless we had like some serious displacement through these lows, I would look to, bring my bias to neutral and wait for more information. However, after this deep retracement inside of the AM session, I then went down to the lower time frame charts, and really what I was doing is just waiting to see if there was any, bullish structure starting to form. So as soon as we trade lower, you can start to see now that price was building liquidity on this time frame, right? Price was building liquidity. We had purged the highs, traded lower, engaged the discount order flow down here, bullish order flow, and then you can start to see. I'm just going to exit the replay. You could then start to see how we were starting to then build bullish structure on this low time frame after engaging that key point. We had a nice surge to the upside. It took market structure here, shifted market structure. And at this point, once we ran this high, I was essentially just waiting for a retracement. Because I knew now that price was extremely bearish all morning. However, we engaged that higher time frame level. We then shot to the upside. I'd really like to see this price action here that's showing me that willingness to want to go higher. And then inside of lunch here, you can see we actually ended up pulling back, swept liquidity here. And then this is actually where I ended up taking my long entry. So on the 5-minute chart here, you'll see there is a 5-minute BISI here. So as soon as price started to retrade lower, we ended up retracing into a discount of the range, which is also a nice confluence. Took liquidity here. And you can see we just kind of went into consolidation after running that low and sitting right on top of this 5-minute BISI. I got long inside of here. And I had my stop down here at the lows, and I was looking for pretty much a high to get taken out. However, obviously in hindsight, it's easier to see, but ES would have been the better one to trade to the upside because, again, it had yet to take out prior day high, whereas NQ had already. So kind of trading ES as almost like a sick sister approach, that would have been the better option. And you can see here we were actually a lot more bullish to the upside, eventually taking out that prior day high. And then we had this wild rip lower. But anyways, as soon as we retraced here, I got long stops at the lows, and I pretty much just sat on it all afternoon. Plan was to move my stop to break even once we ran above this high. However, ES ended up running above that high right around here at 130, and you can see here we were at 130. So I was kind of judging, the movement of price off of ES, and I was at that point I ended up moving my stop. Let me see, where's this? I ended up moving my stop just under here because ES had taken this high, NQ was lagging. I was clearly in the weaker indice, and I just didn't want to get caught in any wild pullbacks, or if this was just going to create S&T and continue lower. I wanted to protect myself. And then once we actually ended up breaking above here around 250, that's when I finally moved my stop to break even. And then as we really started to surge up here, I ended up moving my stop up real tight. And the reason being because towards the end of the day here, it's price can get real wacky. It can do weird things, and this is the good example for that. I just didn't want to get caught in any deep retracement or not, at that point it's kind of, we're in profit, just wanted to make sure I lock in some profits. I couldn't hold overnight anyways, so, and I wouldn't have held this anyways overnight, but just doing so towards the end of the day, just wanted to really tighten up my risk, make sure I locked in some profits for the day, and eventually I had my stop moved up to, I think it was roughly around near this high was, and we got stopped out on this move. So we walked away with about a 1-to-1 in a sense. But all in all, proud for myself to stay patient in the morning, because usually when you don't know what's happening or you're waiting for things to align, you can tend to get a little antsy and impatient and start to second guess exactly what the plan is. But as soon as I saw price trade lower, even after we had taken out prior day high, I saw this as just kind of like a initial purge to get buyers engaged, get them frothed up, anyone that was looking for to kind of just jump on board and make new highs. I kind of saw that as a fake out for them, drag them across the dirt, reverse, and then continue higher. Because again, on the higher time frame perspective, we were just retrading into discount again, just retracing down into discount. And until that narrative or that structure really starts to break down, then I'll switch. But until we, reach our objective to the upside, every retracement I'll be looking at as a potential buy if it forms, what I'm looking for. So proud of the patience I had, sticking to the idea, and being able to, jump in front of this thing after coming down all morning and getting on it, essentially got it on the first, higher low. I was able to ride it up. Next time, just be more wary of the indice that I'm taking and the reason for it. For example, ES had a reason to turn prior day high, NQ did not.